Right guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are here with my esteemed guest on my right, Garf, aka 40k underscore epic underscore narrator on Twitch, and also the epic narrator 40k on YouTube, so the opposite way around.
Indeed, sir.
But you have a very particular interest in Warhammer, so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself first of all, Garf?
Yeah, well, my name's Garf, as Dark Artisan should just introduce myself there, also known as the 40k epic narrator. So I got my start in the hobby back in maybe 1995 or something along those lines. When I was about 10 years old, I got the second edition 40k starter set. You know, probably we can all remember with the classic
Cardboard Dreadnought,
monopose orcs and monopose space marines. And to be honest, Rogue Trader and second edition is really my bag. Not just nostalgia. I mean, I actually, you know, I love that stuff.
Yeah, if anyone's dropped by Garf's stream on Twitch, that's pretty much all he paints. But you have painted 2 Guillimans.
I have painted 2 Guillimans,
and
I shouldn't have done such a good job on the first one, and then maybe I wouldn't have got the second commission.
So, because Garf has, you know, a very niche interest in Rogue second edition and Rogue Trader, I got into the hobby just as second edition was finishing and third edition was starting. So for me, one of the key models for third edition Garf came in the third edition starter set, which was the Land Speeder Tornado.
Right.
Which,
yes,
I am going to send Garf a picture on Discord now. It will pop up on your screens. But what do you think of this? What does this image remind you of?
Well, what does this image remind me of? I mean, obviously, I'm well familiar with this model. You know, I'm not going to beat about the bush. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of these land speeders. These kind of land speeders, I don't know, they kind of like remind me of some sort of like Star Warsy ripoff or something.
Yeah.
I find them very generic sci-fi. Whereas, you know, like the Rogue Trader and the second edition land speeder kind of, although they feel a little bit bulky and they look a lot more impractical, they kind of, I suppose for me, they encompass more of that 40k feel. Whereas this kind of says more generic sci-fi. I mean, if you replaced the Space Marines with a couple of Stormtroopers, for example, like you could easily see that as a Star Wars vehicle, right?
Well, how about a Land Speeder Tornado in white, which I've just sent you a picture of, along with some
white scars,
along with some white Marines that might look like Stormtroopers.
Well, the white doesn't do much for it, does it? It kind of resembles a floating bowling shoe potentially, now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I prefer the Ultramarine one.
Really? How about these ones in red? Do these ones go a little bit faster? Now, these are my own land speeders. I only own the 2, right? But interestingly enough, is it a land speed? It's not a Tempest. What's the name of the Typhoon? Land Speeder Typhoon. Now, the current kit does have the missile pieces in plastic. Mine has the metal upgrade part, so at least mine is a proper third edition one, Garf.
Would it offend you if I said that I looked straight past the land speeders and started salivating at that cardboard scenery with those classic
not at all
bulkheads there?
There is
that Firebase?
It is. There's a very specific reason I took the pictures of these models in front of that.
Yeah.
And that was just for you. I do have several pieces of the second edition terrain. Actually, I've got the Firebase, I've got the Imperial Bunker, and then I've got, I think it's a Bastion, like the old Bastion.
Bastion. Yeah.
There is one of the Imperial ones that I don't own. I've actually got the Gorkamorka Fort, but I don't have, and I still really want this, the Dark Vengeance or the Dark Angels power plant.
Now, what you need to go for, man, is you just need to buy first edition Necromunda and the Outlanders pack and get you'll have all the cardboard scenery you'll ever need there.
I have one piece of Necromunda terrain and I have looked everywhere. Do you know where it is, right? Even compared to the plastic terrain now, the old cardboard stuff with the plastic bulkheads was so much better. However, we're not here to talk about the terrain. We're here to talk about land speeders. So why don't you send me a picture of a Rogue Trader land speeder, the classic one, way before I even remember it, like the creme de la creme of what you epitome of land speeder.
I'll send over what is affectionately known as the flying sofa. So the one I'll just send you now should be the one that's it looks kind of very second edition, actually. The way that Blood Angels are almost that sort of orange,
yes,
with sort of yellow highlights. So that one, and I'm also going to send you the same. It's the same model, but I believe it was only for mail order. I'm actually going to send you an Imperial Guard land speeder, which is also armed with a heavy plasma. So this kit here, very simple by modern standards. However, I would argue that this still has a lot more character than the third edition one or the later land speeders. Although it's massively impractical. It is 40k. I mean, there's literally no armor. They're sitting on the front of the thing. But
it kind of reminds me. It kind of looks like a bit of a roller coaster train, but without the front.
Yeah, I can see that. I've never thought about that, actually. Looks like something you see at Alton Towers or something.
Yeah.
Something you see at Alton Towers just with a multi-melter shoved on the top of it.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, the Blood Angels used to be orange. Like the colour Blood Angel Red was actually orange, and I remember You've still got it.
Right here. So this you can probably see, even though it's blue, like that coat d'arms angel red. I mean, it's not. They're not hiding what that used to be, right? But yeah,
no,
it was proper orange.
I've got a metallic purple there, which is the same as the old amethyst purple.
Yeah.
But this is dangerous. I mean, this Blood Angel one, you've got a multi-melter inches from your head.
Yeah, and also there's that what I've never really worked out. What gun it was sort of hanging underneath there, or if it even is a gun. But I think that we can all appreciate that the most important thing on that land speeder is the outrageous banner, which is necessary for all second edition. Rogue Trader models need some sort of outrageous banner.
Every single sergeant had one. Every single biker, whether you were Orcs, Eldar, Space Marines, had a banner.
Yeah, so that's the Rogue Trader one. But the Rogue Trader one, although I love it and it's got a special place in my heart, it's not my favourite land speeder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a picture now of a land speeder I rescued recently. So first I'll send you the eBay buy of what it used to look like.
Yep.
That horrific turquoise thing.
Oh, wow.
If you look at that, if you look at that multi-melter on the top there, that's obviously not meant to be there. That is actually a Space Crusade Dreadnought multi-melter shoved on there. So I'm going to send another picture now. And so this is the same land speeder, just stripped down, rebuilt, repainted, obviously. The eagle-eyed of you will notice, though, that this is not actually an Ultramarines land speeder. This is actually a Raven Wing 1. But this sort of chassis of land speeder is what I would call the quintessential land speeder.
Yeah.
It's sort of bulky enough that it still envisages whatever, man, some sort of big word, right? Embodies, there we go. It embodies that sort of retro, almost like steampunkish sort of feel to 40k.
Yeah. Now, I do remember these ones. I had them in... I remember going into Games Workshop in Sunderland and seeing these, and I think they were about £20 each at the time. And I never ever got one because, like I said, I got into the hobby quite late in second edition, just as third came out, and I never ever actually owned one of these. But I do like these ones. I would argue I'd probably like this one more than the third edition one. I think the third edition one is just such a staple of modern Space Marines, or it has been for a number of years, that is what people have come to associate with a land speeder. But for me, I agree this is what a land speeder should be.
Although there is one very problematic point with this land speeder. Although the one that I've rebuilt, I'll send you a picture of one now. If you look at that in the background, you can see the original stands that they came with, and it's like a hex stand sort of thing. And it was also so this is a big, massive metal model that you could probably like mug an old woman with. Do you know what I mean? Like you could throw that.
Put it in a sock.
Yeah, exactly. It's super heavy. And it's got this a ridiculously flimsy base. So, like the amount of times that I've seen this thing career off a table or just snap, it's made out of metal as well. So anytime it contacts with anything, the paint just wants to come flying off it. So yeah, so that is a vast improvement. Is that the new bases that they made with the other ones, but yeah, like I said, I mean these are for me the sort of quintessential land speeder.
Absolutely. Now, you don't really like any of the new Primaris Marines, do you? Your objected to them, I suppose.
It's the lore I'm not really down with, and of course, being an Oldhammer fan, of course, I'm going to be slightly averse to change somewhat, right?
Bearing in mind there is 3 versions of the Storm Speeder that I'm about to send you. All that is different is that the guns on the side, the guns on the top, and the gun on the front. Everything else would remain the same. What do you think of the pictures that I've just sent you?
Wait for them to come through.
I'm waiting for this.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to come through.
Let's get his reaction.
Here we go. Right, what to say about these? Bit bulky, isn't it?
But
say the least.
A bit
How
bulky.
big is that thing, man?
That is an 80mm base that it is on.
It looks like it wouldn't even fit in that fire base, right?
No.
Like looking at it.
So
I didn't realise. I mean, I've kind of seen these.
I would put it on par.
I haven't seen them kind of like with the perspective. Actually,
I should have sent you a picture, right? But I'll put one up on the video now. Garf won't see this though. I would put it on par with a Rhino, a modern Rhino.
Right.
In fact, the classic 2nd edition Rhino is probably smaller than that. The Rhino that you were used to is probably smaller than that.
Yeah, the Rhino that I mean a Rogue Trader early second edition Rhino would definitely be smaller than this by the looks of it.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, this thing looks like if you took those front scoops off and put some like Lehman Russ tracks on, looks like it's got half tracks anyway. You could actually turn that into a normal tank, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You could stick wheels or tracks on this, and it would be as big.
Now, it might surprise you, but I actually prefer this to that 3rd edition one.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I did not expect that.
Not expect that, no. I think it's way too big.
Mm-hmm.
But I reckon that if you could take off some of the kibble and stuff, that I would probably actually prefer this to the 3rd edition. I think that turret is a bit much, though.
Well, the missiles do come off, and you can put heavy stubbers on instead. But I agree, like the grav lift on the side, it just comes around too much. You've got the extra bulk on the front of the vents, which I'm not fussed on, and it literally feels like someone's picked up a shoebox and thrown it. And I'm all for the new Primaris stuff. I think a lot of it looks really, really good. I wasn't a fan of the Gladiator at first. Even that has grown on me. But this...
What's the Gladiator, sorry?
It's the new Predator.
Ah, okay. The floating Predator.
The floating Predator, yes.
That's what they call it, the Gladiator.
Yes.
Okay.
There's three versions of that, like the Storm Speed. But yeah, this feels as big as them. My issue with it is I think it's just too big to be a Storm Speeder, right? It's on an 80 mil base. It's on an 80. That's massive. And then the flight stand. Not only is it crap, right, and not only will it not sit on, I had to super glue mine on, right? Doesn't sit like a ball and socket joint should at all. Why is the stem so tall? Why is this thing flying, right? I get that it's a land speeder, but surely it should be hovering like, 4 feet above the ground? Why is this?
I don't know, I always thought of like land speeders maybe a bit more than 4 foot, maybe 6 or 7 foot. But...
Right, but I mean, come on. This thing is floating higher than... I'm just looking for something to compare it to. It's floating higher than my Forge World Hive Tyrant on my shelf.
I mean, when I was looking at it, I mean, people might have seen me, I kind of like grimaced to myself because then I realised that when you said about the Predator, immediately when I was looking at those missile racks, I was like looking at it, I was like, actually, this is just a flying whirlwind, basically, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's got a different array of guns that it can take on the front. So it's got like a las Talon, it can take an onslaught Gatling cannon, a las cannon, an assault cannon, or a multi-melter. That's what it can take, right? But modern versions of them. On the side, it can take like Fragstorm missiles, so more shots, or it can take like crack missiles, which is fewer shots but higher strength. They can also take 2 rockets on the side, which are like the Storm Raven rockets.
Are those rockets you got on the side there? Are they like optional or?
It depends on the variant of which one. They have to be kitted out a certain way. So there's 3 different versions of this, and they all.
Has that one on the left got rockets? It's not enough that it's got 2 rocket launchers on the back and on the sides. I just noticed it's got like 2 sidewinder missile-looking things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are they like the old hunter killer missiles you used to get on? Like,
kind of, yeah. You can relate them to that. So, yeah.
I'd be very interested to see how these scale up with next to like it would seem like a metal Thunderhawk.
No, I haven't. I've never seen one.
I mean, I saw one once back in the day when I was a kid. I would be very interested to see how big that metal Thunderhawk was placed next to this. I'm gonna hazard a guess and say I reckon that if you put 2 of those lengthways, it would be the same size as the old metal Thunderhawk. That's what I reckon.
Really? I didn't realise the old metal Thunderhawk was that small.
Maybe someone in the comments or something can, maybe somebody could do that comparison for us. But that would be. I'm gonna throw that out there as a guess.
Fair enough. So, if we were to create a tier of the 4 land speeders, would you agree the 2nd edition one is at the top?
Maybe. However, there is Forge World, and now I absolutely love the new version of the flying sofa.
Yes, it is. It is very nice.
Amazing, man. There's not really much more I could have asked for with that, to be honest. I mean, I've got a little bit of a gripe about like sticking endless purity seals and like sometimes having a bit too much detail in the model. But I think that Forge World flying sofa or whatever you want to call it, like first edition Road Trader era style land speeder. Now that's how to bring a model up,
yes.
Make it modern, but also contemporary and pay homage at the same time. I mean, like I said, I really couldn't ask for anything more from that model, to be honest. Apart from the price tag could be a bit less.
So if we just count those 5 speeders, I think I would also agree that one needs to go at the top. It is a modern interpretation of the classic flying sofa, like you said. I think the Forge World Landspeeder goes to the top of the list. Would you agree then that the second edition Landspeeder, aka your Ultra Ravenwing Landspeeder, is in second place?
I would confidently say that's second place. I mean, there's two versions of that one actually. There is like the more generic one, which is armed with a multi-melter and
heavy flamer. Yeah.
And the Ravenwing one's got a heavy bolter and an assault cannon. Bloke without a helmet on and stuff like that, you know, those are the main differences. Also, it's Dark Angels, right? So it's got a random little like cheruby angel thing stuck to the front of it, right? Third place. Third place. It's going to be those. It's going to be that Primaris one.
Really?
It's going to surprise you. Yeah. I'm going to put the Flying Whirlwind in third place.
Wow. See, I would go with the third edition one because as much as this is, you know, it's cool, it's new, it's Primaris, yeah. Nah, for me, like I've grew up since third edition, and the third edition Landspeeder, I would put it in third place. Fourth place then.
Fourth place is going to be, I'm afraid, I know it's got a very special place in a lot of people's hearts. It would be just the bog standard third edition one.
Okay. I would then go with the Primaris one.
Yeah. Well, that's not where I'm gonna stop. There is another Landspeeder.
There is.
Have you ever seen that?
Hang on. So that means in fifth place you're actually putting the original OG Flying Sofa.
Oh no, man.
So where's that going?
Oh, where's that going? That's going above the Primaris, but under the second edition.
Right. Okay. So that's going into third place. The Primaris is going into fourth place.
There is that. Talking about Ravenwing, there is that sort of flying what looks like your little brother's made a conversion or something like that, and he's just like, "Oh, I'll stick a las cannoneer and I'll stick this," and he's just like cobbled together with something, right?
It looks.
I don't know what it's called, but I've seen it.
The Dark Shroud.
It's got like 3 or 4 turrets on it, sort of.
The Dark Shroud.
I don't know. Maybe that's
the thing with all the plasma cannons on it.
Could potentially be.
Yeah, that wasn't even on the list, and that's horrid. For me, unfortunately, in fifth place, I would have to put the Flying Sofa, the OG one. So that means the third edition one is in bottom place for you.
I'll just kind of wipe that tear away.
So I genuinely was not expecting you to. I was expecting you to dislike the Stormspeeder more.
Controversial opinion there. Surprise you? Nah, I just find I find the third edition. Perhaps it's the way it was released, if you know what I mean. Perhaps I still harbour resentment after having such a cool second edition Landspeeder to kind of get knocked down. It still just kind of doesn't do anything for me.
No,
not that the Primaris one does much more, to be honest. But
yeah.
I don't know. I feel that if they could just scale back that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've enjoyed bantering about Landspeeders, Garf. So, if you guys actually enjoyed this and liked the bit of banter, should we do this with some other models, Garf? Because we could go along the lines of Predators.
Oh, well, yeah, man. I'd absolutely love to, Harry, man. So.
And Land Raiders. Obviously, Land Raiders are going out, but you can then technically replace them, I suppose, with the new Repulsors.
Let's not get started. Let's get started on Land Raiders.
No.
As soon as you said that, the first Land Raider that comes into mind is the Rogue Trader Land Raider.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, if you're not already following Garf over on Twitch, go and give him a follow. It's 40k_epic_narrator. and you are the Epic Narrator 40k on YouTube. You are meme-tastic when you're streaming on Twitch.
Oh, cheers, mate.
Very, very good banter, and of course, you do make some. I don't know how to describe your YouTube videos. Very out there, entertaining videos.
Okay, I like out there and entertaining. We'll stick with that.
So, Garf, thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the video.
Cool. See you later, guys.